What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler. You are watching Mom's Basement MMA, and joining me on the program is an undefeated professional mixed martial artist from New Mexico. He joins me ahead of his next fight at LFA 186, where he'll be taking on Ryan Charlebois. Ty Miller joins me on the program today. Ty, welcome to the program. I like your name.
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. And yeah, I agree. It's a great name, man.
It is an absolute great name, and I called you Tyler, and I think I'm the only person who can probably get away with that. So thank you for joining me on your Saturday. You train out of Fit NHB in Albuquerque. Ty, can you tell me a little bit about the gym, where you train out of, and kind of what the culture is like there? How did you end up there?
Yeah, man, it's out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I remember after wrestling in high school, I was trying to find an MMA gym because this is something I wanted to pursue. And I told my dad, I was like, man, I might go to Jackson's. And my dad was like, he didn't really want me to go over there because he had a close friend, which is my wrestling coach, JJ. And he wanted me to go over there. And so, yeah, I went over there when I was 18 years old. And yeah, man, I've just been there ever since. We've had guys there like Carlos Condit, Tim Means, Ray Borg, Nico Montano. Grappling coach is Tom Vaughn. Also my head coach, wrestling coach, John Judy, JJ. And then striking coaches are Matt Priest and Arlene Sanchez.
How instrumental has that coaching been to your development as a fighter?
It's been huge, man, because guys like that they've coached before, like Carlos Condit and Tim Means, they have like the same body style, the frame as me. And so I could really look at those guys and kind of take some things away, look at the things they do good and see some of the things that, they need work on. And I could apply that to myself, you know what I mean? And so there's kind of already like a good foundation there and, something I could use to help model myself and, help with my game.
Because of where you're at in New Mexico, like geographically, it means like LFA, Fury, and CFFC maybe, or like maybe Florida hits you up. The common denominator and all that stuff is like you're on the road, right? Because we don't see a lot of events come through New Mexico very often.
No.
Not like on that bigger regional level is what I'm trying to say. Is that kind of like something you had to get used to, fighting on the road and being like in the blue corner all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it could be hard, man, because, no one's really cheering for you sometimes, it's also good because that's how the UFC is going to be. You know what I mean? You're not going to have all your friends and family go and show up for you sometimes if I go fight in Australia or Brazil or something like that. You know what I mean? So it kind of helps prepare me for, the future.
I think you can fight in welterweight. I think you can fight in middleweight. And like, do you like have any sort of like long-term idea of which weight class that you'll be in for the foreseeable? I know we're fighting at welter for this next fight, but do you have a preference one way or the other?
I think I prefer 170, and just kind of fill my body out for that weight class. But I think as far as like the height, the reach, just the general size, I think that's a perfect weight class for me.
I watched your performance at CFFC 107. I was in the building for that. You got a decision victory over a tough guy, Eric Nolan. I was really impressed by your body work. I was just like, golly, who is this dude? I'm gonna put a bookmark in that one. And then you fought again at CFFC 112, and you got another victory over Manny Morales. And then you kind of like went away for a while. The time away from competition, was that exceptionally difficult for you? Because you're talking about making your professional debut, you go on a tear and then you go away for a little while just as you're building up momentum. How challenging was your time away from competition?
Yeah, it's hard, man. I've said it before in other interviews, but I was dealing with the ACL injury, a near complete tear, and so I just had a rehab, and it's tough, man, because I like to move. I don't like to just sit in bed and just lay and relax, and so. And then, you kind of look at the guys that you fought or are competing or, other welterweight prospects, and you're like, fuck, man, I wish that was me. But a good time to work on your mind, your mental, and kind of visualize things, like you wouldn't have before because, now I'm injured, now I'm in bed, now I'm forced to just only do that, and, study film, study my fights, see what I'm doing right and wrong. I think it was a blessing in disguise.
You're an undefeated professional fighter, and you know, when I've talked to a lot of guys out there, they always talk about learning, and the catalyst for learning often cases like, well, I had to lose first. I had to lose. I had to learn to get better. You're not losing. You're going out there and you're winning. I'm curious, like, how do you continue to evolve? How do you continue to like stay motivated and like work on your improvements when you're going out there and you're winning all the time? Some guys experience a lot of success and then they kind of think they know it all, and then things kind of fall apart. I'm curious, like, how do you stay in the right frame of mind when you're experiencing so much success in the cage?
I think you have to kind of treat it like a loss whenever you do win, because like after my fights, I go back and I watch the hell out of my fight, because I want to see everything I did right and everything I did wrong, and I focus on the things I did wrong, and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, how would I beat me, so I
Mhm.
can fill those holes. You know what I mean?
You last competed at Fight World 33. It was against Michael Tovar. Can you tell me a little bit about what you remember from that fight? Was it weird being back in the cage after you were away for a couple years? Can you walk me through just kind of where you were at physically and mentally for that fight, and what was it about that performance that kind of stands out to you now?
Yeah, I think that fight I was the most prepared. I felt the most calm. You know, I felt relaxed. I felt good. Um, and then going out there, I was just throwing a lot of combinations. You know, I was just kind of overwhelming them. There's some stuff I did in there that I didn't really like too much. I kind of jumped for a guillotine, and that was you know those are always risky. You know what I mean? But I had a lot of output. My cardio was good. I got the unanimous decision. But that guy was tough as hell, man. I was hitting him with a lot of shit, and he took it well. He just kept try to come forward and finish the fight, get it to the ground. But I did a good job staying on my feet and finding my shots.
At what point, Ty, does LFA contact you with a fight offer?
I think a month later after my last fight.
So in the springtime is when they were on the phone with you.
Yeah, yeah. And we're trying to find, the right opponents, and it's not always easy to get in the fights you want.
You'll be going up against Ryan Charlebois, and that guy comes to crack. He's a tough guy, and he's had a lot of success. I think he's a lot better than what his record says. I know he has a DQ on his record, but all in all, I look at this guy. He has a pretty impressive body of work. What's your opinion on your opponent, and what are some of the things about his game that stand out to you?
Yeah, he's a good striker. He mixes his hands and feet well. Um, Throws a lot of body kicks, switches stance a lot. So he's pretty elusive. I say he's pretty calm and calculated with the strikes. He's a good opponent for me because I feel like I'm kind of like that too. You know what I mean? And so I think it's going to make for a really good fight. A really good technical, a good fight.
Does he remind you at all of Eric Nolan? I think of Eric, I think of another tall guy like you, and I think of a guy with a lot of power. I don't know how tall Ryan is, but I do know he has a ton of power. So you fought some guy. Like, I look at him and I thought I made that connection to Eric. Does he remind you of him at all, or not? Or not even? Is this a completely different fight in your opinion?
I think as far as like the size and the frame, like their body type is real similar, but I think they have a different style. You know what I mean? I feel like this Ryan dude mixes things up a little bit better and uses a lot more feints. Um, but I feel like Eric was probably the better grappler, better wrestler. Yeah, I do think this guy is different though.
With the fight being in Denver, I know Albuquerque is a high altitude area, but going into Denver, you're competing in that locale. We all know about elevation being a big challenge for a lot of people. How are you? How confident are you about fighting at high elevation for this next fight?
Well, being in Albuquerque, New Mexico, this is high elevation too. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's going to be very much different than
Mhm.
it is over here. I think it's
And
only like a couple feet higher.
oh, I didn't. I knew like you guys were up there. I didn't know it was like that up there though. But
Yeah, yeah.
cool. Well, I did want to ask you, like, as far as this matchup's concerned with Ryan, we know he comes out with a lot of pressure. We know he comes out with like a lot of power. He's going to be hunting for that knockout. Do you believe that in your mind, like you are the better grappler though? Do you feel like if you want to take that fight there and start grappling with him, that you'll have the advantage over Charlotte Bois?
Yeah, I do think so. And you know what? I like to stand, obviously. I like to strike, but I have a good ground game as well. You know what I mean? And I need to utilize that more in my fights. But I have no problem standing with Ryan at all. And, you know, if I catch him with some good shots, he's probably going to try to shoot on me too. You know what I mean? So I fully intend on standing and striking with this guy.
A win against Ryan Charlebois, would put you with a 5-0 professional MMA record. Very, very impressive. And somebody with a record like that, and all of a sudden you're talking about potentially getting lined up for a really big fight, maybe even a title fight. What do you want to do when you get the job done against Ryan?
Uh, you know, that belt kind of sounds nice, but, you know, getting that call from the UFC would also be nice too. So, you know, whatever comes, I don't really think too far ahead. You know, my focus is on Ryan. You know what I mean? I think that's how it needs to be. You know, I need to give him all my attention. You know.
Completely understand. Well, Ty, I appreciate you pulling up to the program, spending part of your weekend with me. If there's any shout outs, if there are any sponsors you need to thank, or any coaches or whatever that you would like to mention before I let you go, let's do it.
Yeah, shout out to all my coaches, my teammates for getting me ready, my girlfriend too, and my daughter. You know, they motivate me, make me want to be better, and yeah, man, I do it all for them.
Well, Ty, thank you again, sir, for being on the program. I look forward to having you back real soon.